CBS has just finished airing its 60 Minutes interview with President Donald Trump. And as a viewer and as a journalist, I could not be more ashamed of what I saw tonight because 60 Minutes did exactly what Donald Trump sued them for, and they settled. 60 Minutes and CBS News aired a 73-minute long interview, yet cut it into just 28 minutes, editing key sections, cutting several parts of the interview, and showing viewers on television less than half of the full, unedited interview with Donald Trump. Donald Trump previously sued CBS News for doing the exact same thing with Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, there's nothing wrong with editing and cutting an interview with the presidential candidate or with the president of the United States. But CBS News settled that frivolous lawsuit for $15+ million directly to Donald Trump's coffers. Yet tonight, it did exactly the same thing, this time in favor of the president of the United States. And since 60 Minutes refuses to fact check Donald Trump, I will. And I want to take the next 7 minutes and fact check critical parts of the interview with Norah O'Donnell. First, Donald Trump was asked, quote, "Why did you pardon Changpeng Zhao, who was the founder of Binance?" Trump's response, "Are you ready? I don't know who he is." O'Donnell reminded him that his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial stablecoin. And then you pardoned him. Trump responded, "Here's the thing. I know nothing about it." Now, a journalist should have responded and said, "Well, sir, the Republicans in Congress are currently investigating whether or not whether or not Joe Biden used an auto pen and knew who he was pardoning when he pardoned them at the end of his term. Many call Joe Biden senile and declining in mental acuity for not knowing basic things that were happening in his administration, despite not actually being true. Yet the president of the United States now, Donald Trump, seemingly not just probably used an auto pen here, but didn't even know the man he was pardoning. A man that served several months in prison and a man who helped the Trump family earn riches, millions, in the Bitcoin market. Fact check number two. O'Donnell asked him, "Are you going to war against Venezuela?" Trump's response, "I doubt it. They emptied their mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States of America." There is no evidence to suggest that the Venezuelan government emptied their quote mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States of America. There is zero evidence of that, and yet the president of the United States parrots this idea in an effort to drum up possible war in the Southern Caribbean. Next up, O'Donnell asks, "The stock market doesn't affect everybody. Not everybody is invested in the market." Trump, "It does. It affects everybody." O'Donnell, "But grocery prices are going up." Trump, "No. 401ks, people have 401ks. Here's the deal first. Not everyone is invested in the stock market. Not everyone has a 401k. Most people, most average everyday Americans can't afford to invest in the stock market. Second, grocery prices have gone up. From beef to orange juice to more, the price of groceries have gone up across the board, sometimes more than 10% since the start of Donald Trump's term. And yet, CBS News did not push back on this idea that Trump said grocery prices are not going up. Third, or rather fourth, O'Donnell asks, "Why did we need to test our nuclear weapons?" Trump, "Well, because you have to see how they work." No pushback about the fact that Donald Trump claims to want the Nobel Peace Prize and is yet ramping up testing of America's nuclear weapons in the United States of America. We have not tested nuclear weapons since 1992, more than 30 years ago today. Now, here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. That's not all. Tonight, Donald Trump said that he beat the indictments against him, and that's how he was able to become president of the United States. And well, he didn't beat them. He was convicted of 34 felony charges on one of the indictments, would have been sentenced to some type of punishment, whether incarceratory or not, if he was not elected president. And let me read you a part of the interview that CBS News refused to air tonight. Donald Trump said, and actually, 60 Minutes paid me a lot of money. And you don't have to put this on because I don't want to embarrass you. And I'm sure you're not. I think you have a great new leader, frankly, who's the young woman that's leading your whole enterprise, is great from what I know. I don't know her, but I hear she's a great person. But 60 Minutes was forced to pay me a lot of money because they took her answer out that was so bad. It was election changing 2 nights before the election, and they put a new answer in, and they paid me a lot of money for that. You can't have fake news. You've got to have legit news. And I think that it's happening. I see good things happening in the news. I really do. And I think one of the best things to happen is this show and new ownership, CBS and new ownership. I think it's the greatest thing that's happened in a long time to a free, open, and good press. I want, as I read those words, I hope that they rang true in your mind of why exactly CBS News chose tonight not to air them. They didn't want the world to see the reason that Donald Trump is even appearing on 60 Minutes tonight. And it's because 60 Minutes paid him millions of dollars for doing exactly what they did tonight. CBS News was once the media organization that employed people like Walter Cronkite, someone who was committed, fiercely committed to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but it. He stood strong in the face of resistance. He did not insert his opinion. He did what every good journalist should do. But tonight, that's CBS. This 60 Minutes, it's dying. It's dying. And it's an emblematic example of where mainstream media is at. Because we are now living through a time where mainstream media is actively caving to this White House. One interview, one network at a time. As an independent journalist, I cannot overstate how important being independent is in this moment, how important it is to call out the injustices like what we saw tonight, because that's what it was, an injustice. Join me, build something better. Subscribe today, and I'll see you soon for another update.